Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Friday, the 17th of a very, very dumpy UPtober. UPtober's cancelled so far. Just quickly looking at the max pain. On the 3 day, we got max pain, long max pain, quite close to us, sitting at about 102.8. More long pain, sitting about 103.8, and then 104 as well. So we're quite a lot closer than we are to the longs than we are to the shorts. At this moment in time when we're dumping quite hard. So we are actually getting very, very close to the long max pain. I would say the furthest away is the ones at 102.7, which is the 3 day. And apart from that, we're in the vicinity of all this long max pain at the moment. However, I would just like to bring your attention to the long to short ratio on the old MDX charting. So top will be the retail traders and bottom will be the top traders, and they're pretty much exactly the same. They're saying about actually top traders are more long, so I'm not really sure how accurate top traders are, but yeah, this is very, very heavy longs. So that kind of means that we're not really going to reverse as long as the longs are at 70%. However, when you do get to 70% either side, it does mean that we are quite close to a reversal, just because it can't really go that much further. Of course, it can go to 75%, but usually when you get in around 70%, it kind of means we're going to reverse quite soon. And that might end in a massive, massive, like, big dump candle and wick down. So yeah, it's just, it's just one of those things that it's not really what you don't really want to jump in the way of this at the moment, and we're also very, very low down to short. So yeah, it is what it is. In terms of liquidations, I mean, if I just go higher time frame, because we're actually gonna have to start going on the 3 month and stuff. It's just been completely wiped on pretty much either both sides. I know we've got a lot of short liquidity back up the highs, but it's just gone the 6 month quickly. There's just not really that much in the book at the moment. Yeah, there's just not really that much there. In terms of the order book, you just turn off that footprint because that's really annoying, and I might have to turn this slightly like that. You go to the hourly. I don't think the CoinGlass Legend is the best order book, but I do like it for having this node on. So yeah, we might have hit a couple long orders. Wow. 900 Bitcoin, that's a lot of Bitcoin there. I'm not really sure if that got pulled. I think that might have got hit along with 300 Bitcoin there. So still longs coming into the market at this moment in time, and not really any plunge. There's a bit of protection down here. 250, 300, 300. But we're just in a volume dead zone really, and it just looks really bad. Even last night, well, that was yesterday, right? Yeah, yesterday when we lost this node at around, what would have been about an hour before Viking Stream, an hour and a half at 111.7, that candle, and then we just, yeah, new low, new dump, continue to go down. Yeah, apart from that, that's it for the data. Yeah, very, very many longs in the market at this moment in time. Quickly, let's just go to the old charts. I remember to switch my recording as well. So yeah, extremely dumpy at the moment. We are filling that wick, like I said I did want to see. Now, I'm not looking to long this just yet, just because, we are 70% long in the market. And I just don't see any evidence that this is going to stop right now. There are a couple things that are telling me that we might stop quite soon. By that I mean we are bullishly diverging quite heavily if we do close above June or around here. And we also do have like heavy retail stablecoin demand, like bullish technicals. However, there's just nothing in the price action that is telling me that this is going to stop right here, other than that we are filling the wick and we are getting quite close to the long max pain. So all in all, I think I'm just going to continue being in relaxation mode right here. I'll take some quick scalps if I see a good setup on the low time frames, but apart from that, it's just wholly unattractive. Yeah, and like I said, in this area, there's just not really that much. There's not really that many plays that you could do here. So yeah, as for areas where we might stop, let's just have a look at the liquidations. Yeah, it's getting quite thick about 102, 101, even 100k. There is a dead zone just underneath 100k. So I think if we were to just go straight down now, like we are doing, I think we would stop around 101, in between 101 and call it like just below 100k. I do think we would stop in this dead zone here for the time being. So yeah, again, the metrics are getting super oversold, as you can see on the oscillators. Retail stablecoin demand is potentially going to put in a mega bullish divergence on the 12-hour, but yeah, like I said, there's just no evidence that this is turning around just yet. Although we are getting quite close to something. So I think if you're seeing this, if you see Bitcoin at like 99.5, 99.6, 99.7, there's a good chance that you're probably going to get a reversal. A very good chance. And it will just look something like put that on. Looks something like, you know, might come up, really bearish retest, big wick down, take all the liquidations, stop just underneath 100k somewhere here, and then do something like that, and then, you know, we'll see what happens. But yeah, just not really looking too great at the moment, guys. I'm still being patient, especially with my like ETH and something. I want to get out higher. I want to get out at at least 4 point something k. I might have to take a few of these lines off this chart. Bad chart. But yeah, we'll just use this for the time being. I would still like to get out of my ETH higher, just due to the fact that we do have quite a lot of bullish signals on the 12-hour coming in. But yeah, it's just at this moment in time, it's not looking very good. On the daily time frame, we do have like bullish divergence on the daily, bullish divergence on both oscillators, and on the retail stablecoin demand. Excuse me, sorry, I just had to yawn. So, like I was saying on yesterday's stream, when the retail stablecoin demand does print, it usually means that the next move could be the false move, the one more, and then it kind of plays out. So that kind of looks like what's happening here, and we are kind of looking like we're getting towards having a bounce. Like I said, just no evidence of it just yet, and yeah, on ETH it'd be nice if we could hold these like 4-hour and daily lows, which we are currently underneath. But likewise, even if we do break that, I'm expecting like a swift move down into 3.4, where I do think that would potentially be an area to stop for. And then all the bullish divergences will start playing out probably. But yeah, it just looks really shit at the moment. And the market looks kind of wholly uninteresting unless you're scalping. So if you're trying to take a swing position, it's just horrible. Until, yeah, I think I was saying that on Viking stream, this 4-hour candle after the weekly open and the Q4, that was a super bearish 4-hour candle. And you even had actually a re-entry here. You really bearishly retested the underside of this structure, and then yeah, we've just dumped to the lows. So again, I'm not super interested in this market at this moment in time, apart from taking sort of like quick scalps and positions. However, that was actually a 10% dump, which was quite nice. So you can pull out 10% either way. I actually didn't take this short, but this would actually be a really good short to take. I did spot this during Viking stream. So I probably just should have marketed in a little bit of a, you know, a little bit of a trade even here. So you could have got a 10% short, and I also earlier in the week on Tuesday we all got a 10% like on long as well. So there is opportunity, but just taking any swing positions at this moment in time is just not. It's just not gonna be. It's just not great. So yeah, apart from that, yeah, hype making new lows. Let's actually have a look at some of these metrics. Yeah, again, quite similar to ETH, just looking really droopy at the moment. We are getting some bullish divergence coming in quite heavily, especially if we do some closes throughout down here. Again, more bullish divergence on the 12-hour. Probably going to print that again, but just no evidence of stopping at this moment in time. This retail stablecoin demand is extremely bullish. Where do we print this? Hold on. Printed that there, did one more. Printed that there, doing one more. It's eventually going to play out. But yeah, it's just not looking too great at the moment. Let's have a look at the hourly. Yeah, it's just bearish retest down until we do something like this. New high, retest. Okay, until we do something like that, it's just looking super droopy. So yeah, apart from that, all other alts are just looking shite. And yeah, it is what it is. I'm still low-key holding on to my spot because I just do feel like before going into a bear market, people are going to want to exit their positions, and there's just so many shorts up here that it's just in the market maker's interest to come up here and rip all of this at some point. I don't believe that we're going to make new highs anymore on a lot of these alts, just because of all these wicks. It's just not going to be resolved anytime soon. And so even if we do this back to the lows and then we rip all the way to the highs, I just don't think we're going to go like do that. And, you know, it's just a bit too far gone now. However, I just do believe that, again, we're going to get some sort of this, you know, ETH's got it all the way up here. Bitcoin has it all the way up here as well. Like, they've all got it up there. So, you know what I mean, the liquidations. So yeah, apart from that, pretty horrible. Hopefully next week might be some better trading. But if anyone wants me to look at anything in particular, do you have any specific trades you're looking at? Let's actually go to the really, really lower time frames and just say what's happening. Okay, so even on SUI here, what's happening in this chart? What we do have is we have a new low here, and we have a high that we don't want to break. Very, very, very simple. If you're looking at this making a new low at 3:30 last night, it's coming up. You don't want it to break above here. If it does, again, changing structure on the 5-minute. You short your stop up here, fine. I mean, that's probably a bit too big. I mean, yeah, it's 1.5%. It's not too bad, but and then bang, you get an 8% dump. Very good. Very, very good. Similar thing, Link. Let me just take a sip. Similar thing, Link. Resistance here. You slap that on. You have a new low. Bang. Still in a downtrend. You could even pull the fib, but I'm just not going to do it because I know the fib's going to come in around here. Short. 10% dump. Stop. Probably back above there. 1.5%. Fine risk. You know? And even so, like when we're losing it here, when you lose it here, you can just short, place the stop back above here because you don't want to get above. Yeah. So yeah, if you're on the lower time frames, there are trades that you can take with tight invalidations. But as for swing positions, it's just not looking good for taking any swing positions in the market at the moment. So yeah, does anyone want me to look at anything in particular, or I don't have any actually trades lined up for you for the weekend. I think I'm just gonna relax. I'm gonna see where the weekly closes. We are getting quite close to potentially getting a bounce on a lot of these like higher time metrics now, like 12-hour daily and stuff like that. Which is why I'm keeping my spot just for now. But I am kind of thinking of like starting to sell out just in case we do go into a bear market soon. But I'm going to stick to my guns. I do think we will rip some stuff higher, the liquidations. Like even this, like even Link, guys, like look at this. We're just bullishly diverging all the way down. However, it's just not stopping. There's just nothing in the price action which is telling you that you should long this. You could have maybe tried to long the 4-hour low with a stop, but you would already be stopped out by now. And so yeah, it's just wholly uninteresting in this market. So you probably have to look quite higher time frame and just identify areas where potentially you might get a bounce, and then go to the 15-minute or the hourly and see, are we doing some lower time frame gains that you could potentially take a scalp on with tight invalidations that maybe will turn into a swing position. Because right now it's just looking really terrible. Solana, Aero, AVAX. Okay, we'll do those and then. So Solana, which I actually haven't looked at. So Solana, we sold quite a lot of spot here. It was pretty good decision. Still got 50% of my spot bag. It looks very weak right now. We are getting some bullish divergence on the daily time frame, which is nice. Again, bullish divergence on the retail stablecoin demand. It's probably going to print quite again. Wave master on the daily getting quite low down, but just again, nothing in the price action is telling us that we're getting quite close to a bottom. Potential lows down here failed to hold. Potential lows down here failed to hold. Currently dumping quite through it. I think the next thing that you'd probably be looking for is something like that, 158. Quite simply put it, yep, that's down by the Q3. I don't think we're going to hold August, November. I think we're probably going to just dump straight through it at this moment in time. The next thing I'll be looking at, again, like I said, 160, 158, and then we've also got this daily support down here. As for weekly, daily combination band, that's coming in 167. It's quite a lot lower. And then if we go to the 12-hour liquidations, yeah, there is a decent chunk in between 170 and 160 in this area. So it kind of looks like we're going to take all of that, potentially bullishly diverge again on all of these time frames, and then potentially probably get a bounce all the way up to this high leverage stuff here, in between 190 and 204. As for that, if we, it's actually very likely that we take all of this in this box and then just bearishly retest the bottom of this structure where that high leverage stuff is right here. And then we'll either make a higher low from the dump that we do now, or we'll just dump straight through it and keep going. That's what I'm thinking on Sol. It looks pretty bearish. It's not looking great. Aero and AVAX. I hope we'll break 98k. I hope we don't, Adrian. Because like I said, I want to get out of my spot, but I just don't want to do it right here. And just the amount of liquidations up here. Okay, if we're going to go to a bear market, are we going to leave all this stuff? The probability is no. And so even if I do think we are topping and it is probably over, I do think we're going to get a couple like wicks to the upside on the weekly time frame, in which I could get out a better price. So I'm just going to hold tight here. It might be a really bad decision. It might be a really bad decision. So for example, like I've got half of my Solana bag left. I don't want to get out down here. I want to get out up here somewhere. But yeah, it might not happen. I'm not gonna lie. It might not happen, but I'm just gonna stick to my guns here. So I hope we hold 99k where the liquidity dead zone is, where the liquidation dead zone is, just underneath 100. I hope we hold this like that and get a really big bounce back up to here. And then maybe we'll put in a higher low and then rip all the stuff at the highs. That would be best case scenario for me. And then everyone gets to short up here. We get all our bear markets. Maybe it goes up to 127 and licks this stuff. Again, then we'll just short again. And then, yeah, bear market. That would be ideal for me. But the market doesn't give a fucking shit what I want. So I think there's a good chance of it. There's a really good chance of it. Because once we get down here and we start getting below 100k, everyone's going to start panicking and be like, short, bear market. And then we'll just do that. Once we're back up here, it's just going to be dead. And we'll just go sideways for a bit. So yeah, I hope we don't break 99k. Error and AVAX. With current regional banks collapse, we could be in for a Black Friday. Maybe likely sweep the wick and then sweep below 150 week. Sui would love for us to sweep 120k above before downside. Me too. I think a lot of people are probably thinking that though, because like I said, like I'm still holding some of my spot. Like I'm holding, to be exact, I'm holding spot Bitcoin, I'm holding spot ETH, I'm holding half my spot Solana. I've sold out a lot of my Solana and Hype, which is quite nice. I'm holding spot Injective and I'm holding spot FET. Those are probably my biggest holdings that I all want to get out of. And Tau. Tau's actually up right now, so I'm just kind of I'm trying to be patient and get out a good spot, but it just looks dumpy at the moment. I just don't want to sell the bottom. Like, look at Injective, man. This is going to have nothing if it does fill this wick like that. And then all it needs to do is make a new high up here after ripping that stuff, and it's going to go all the way for up here. I don't know what the chances of that are happening, but I'm banking on it right now. Think ETH goes down to fill wick low at 3.3. I've spotted nags. Spot nags, dude. All right, let's do Aero and AVAX, and we'll do Sui, and then, yeah, I'll stop my recording, and we'll just chill. I think we already slightly looked at Sui, and it looks really shite. This is just terrible, man. This is so bad. Again, price action, not really looking too good. In terms of where we might potentially see a bounce, we are getting quite close to this area, so I'd say it's probably something like, I'll just put the daily low on for now, in between 1.92 and 2.05. Oh, what just happened there? It just deleted my it just took off my line. Wait, what? What's going on? Okay. Oh, Wi-Fi's gone down. Is the stream okay? Alright, it's back. Oh, that was weird. Training view just bugged out. Yeah, so local price action, obviously completely just straight down. Nothing in this that is telling us it is going to turn around. But what we can do is we can identify potential areas for a potential bounce. So we've got this area down here, which could get filled. This is also support. And if we look on the metrics, we're getting some bullish divergence coming in. Doesn't mean it has to play out right now, but we're probably going to get more come in the further we go down. Retail stablecoin demand, bullish divergence, oversold. This is all on the daily time frame as well. So 12-hour also looking like it wants to diverge again. So I would say that we are potentially getting close to a bounce. There's just no evidence on it in the chart, and you kind of want to see something like this and then some like low time frames, you know, before you even think about jumping into this right now. But yeah, we potentially could be getting quite close to a bounce in this area. I will not be doing anything with these charts right now. Especially as we had a positive week after the Litecoin trade. My AVAX trade is stopped out, by the way, but luckily I took a bit of profit. But yeah, looks shit. Potential area to stop again, 1.92 to 2.05. Probably 2.1 to 2.02 is quite an interesting area. There's a little bit of liquidations down there and a dead zone sitting just below $2. So potential area to turn around, but I don't know. It looks shit. Same thing kind of with AVAX. I'm gonna have to clean up this chart at some point. Probably do it now, you know. Just delete all of that. AVAX, very similar thing. You know, this could actually dump quite a lot, all the way down to potentially $17 to $18, which we are getting quite close to. Again, this daily is actually super oversold. We've obviously got bullish divergence on the retail stablecoin demand. We were talking about this, that maybe it doesn't play out straight away and you get one more move down and then it plays out. So we are potentially getting quite close to something in this area. Potential reversal. However, like I said again, you just want to see something at least on the hourly, like at least a higher high, just to say like, oh, okay, we might be switching, and then you can potentially bid the lows. And then, but other than that, it just, yeah, keep your eyes peeled for these areas though. They are potentially good areas that we might get a little bit of a reversal, especially after doing something like this. Fill the wick, you know, maybe long to short comes back, maybe some more shorts start coming back in. But yeah, it just looks shit. It looks terrible. Arrow. USDT. Again, similar sort of thing here. This actually looks, well, it did look slightly better until this daily candle absolutely started bombing it. Again, very similar thing. All the daily metrics are super bottomed or oversold. Getting into potential areas of support, but it just doesn't look attractive at this moment in time. There is potential that you could see a bounce from 675. However, again, just not worth even trying to catch a knife here until you see something like this and then a higher low, and then yeah, maybe okay. But it's just not looking good. If anything, it's looking like you should short the retest of this here. That's what I would do at this moment in time. If it does bounce up, because it's very clear that if you gain this, then you have like a change of structure, and the invalidation is really tight there. But again, this chart doesn't actually look as bad as the others. I know the wick's super like, the wick went all the way down to this low down here. Damn, crazy. But this chart doesn't actually look that bad. Like, it could look worse. Could look a lot worse. I hold big amounts on the spot. That's why I want to get rid of it. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, bro. Honestly, in the same boat as you. I just don't want to sell the bottom, because if we do rip the highs, I'm going to be fuming. But again, if we go into a bear market now, I'm going to be also equally fuming. So at least I sold some of my spot Solana and hype at the top. That's one thing I can say, that the instincts kicked in. Just bang. Just get out. And then, yeah. So let me stop my recording and we'll just